LeBron James doesn't speak on everything. That's not by accident. That's a man who knows exactly what his name carries, and chooses carefully where he puts it. So when LeBron said nothing about Caitlin Clark, it was noticed. Through the record-breaking draft numbers. Through the packed arenas. Through merchandise flying off shelves before stores could even restock. Silence. From LeBron. And in that silence, there was a message. Then he spoke. Not casually. Not off the cuff. Deliberately. Publicly. With his full platform behind every single word. Tonight, we're getting into why his silence hit different. Why what he finally said matters. And why those words made a very specific group of people inside the NBA deeply uncomfortable. This is why LeBron's silence was never just silence.
To understand why LeBron James finally commented on Caitlin Clark landing with the force it did.
In the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulder. She seems like...
Here's the thing. Before LeBron ever said a word about Caitlin Clark, you need to understand what his silence actually meant. Because LeBron has never been quiet about women's basketball. That context matters. And it keeps getting lost. For years, he's been vocal. On social media. In interviews. Through the media empire he built with his business partner. He's consistently said women athletes deserve more visibility. More investment. More respect from the mainstream sports world. Through Spring Hill Entertainment, he's backed projects that put women in sports front and center. His business instincts have always pointed toward where basketball was growing, and women's basketball was growing. These weren't one-off comments. These were documented, consistent, public positions. Held over years. So that's what makes what happened next so hard to ignore. When Caitlin Clark arrived, the single most transformative moment in WNBA history, LeBron went quiet. This wasn't just any player. This was someone who quadrupled draft viewership. Before she played a single professional minute. Arenas sold out. Merchandise sold out. The needle didn't just move, it jumped. And LeBron James said nothing. From a man who always had something to say about women's basketball. That silence? It was loud.
Clark last played for Indiana against New York, and now she takes it in off glass and has a chance for a three-point play.
A player who sent Indiana Fever season ticket sales up over 1,000%. From the moment her name was called first overall. A player filling arenas in cities that hadn't sold out a single WNBA game ever in franchise history. And she was selling those seats out weeks in advance. Merchandise? Gone. Faster than the league could even restock the shelves. And the biggest name in basketball, the same guy who'd spent years championing women's sports, was saying nothing. Nothing specific. Nothing direct. Sure, he made general comments about the WNBA growing. Sure, he gave vague nods that women's basketball was having a moment. But Caitlin Clark's name? Attached to LeBron's platform? With the full weight of what that combination means to the sports world? That wasn't happening. And people noticed. Because there's a difference between supporting something in broad strokes and actually putting your name next to the person who's driving it. LeBron knew that difference better than anyone, which made the silence even harder to explain away.
Cool, I saw that. I didn't see it before the game, but obviously a lot of people had sent it to me after the game, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought it was kind of fake at first.
That absence lasted longer than it felt natural. And people noticed. Analysts tracking both leagues noticed. Fans on social media noticed. Sports media noticed. Everyone watching the intersection of the NBA and the WNBA, they all noticed. Because here's the thing. When someone is rewriting every commercial record in league history, in real time, with data nobody can argue with, and the sport's loudest, most credible advocate for growth isn't specifically acknowledging it, the silence stops feeling accidental. It starts feeling like a choice. And choices like that carry meaning. Now, there are real reasons that silence made sense. LeBron is deep inside the NBA's ecosystem. The players. The culture. The commercial relationships. The politics. Loudly putting one player above established veterans and stars? That's complicated. That requires careful navigation. And then there's the WNBA side. LeBron has real relationships with players who built that league before Caitlin Clark ever showed up. Women who played for small paychecks, in half-empty arenas, who kept showing up anyway, because they believed in something. Some of those women have complicated feelings about a rookie walking in and instantly transforming a commercial landscape they never got to experience, despite everything they gave. Wading into that? You need real judgment. And LeBron clearly has it. But here's the twist. That silence? It was actually working in Caitlin's favor the whole time. Every single day LeBron stayed quiet while the numbers kept climbing. The eventual moment he spoke was getting heavier. More loaded. More significant. Because that's how it works. The longer the silence, the louder the statement when it finally breaks. And when LeBron James finally decided Caitlin Clark's story was worth his platform, the world was already waiting.
Platform.
LeBron.
And then he spoke. In an interview with Esquire, LeBron James said simply, "I have a great deal of respect for her." But those words didn't land like routine commentary. They landed like a verdict. From the most credible voice in basketball. And here's how he did it. LeBron didn't get cornered into answering an uncomfortable question. He didn't give a vague, safe, PR-approved response. He chose the moment. He chose the words. And the words made one thing immediately clear. He had been paying close attention. For a long time. Way longer than his silence suggested. He acknowledged what Caitlin's fans had been saying since before she played her first professional minute. That what she's done for women's basketball, for its visibility, its commercial reach, its future, has no comparison in league history. He talked about the numbers. But not like an analyst reading from a spreadsheet. Like someone who actually understood what those numbers mean. The viewership explosion. The sold-out arenas. The merchandise demand the league couldn't keep up with. The young girls discovering basketball through one player, in a way the sport had simply never seen before at the professional level. He didn't put her in a box labeled women's basketball. He placed her in the bigger story. Basketball as a cultural force. Basketball as a commercial force. In American life. He framed her arrival the way you'd frame a moment that changed what was possible, permanently. Not a great rookie season. Not even a historic rookie season. A permanent shift in the scale of what women's professional basketball could be. That framing was deliberate. And coming from LeBron, it carried enormous weight. The reaction was instant. And it moved in every direction at once. For Caitlin's fans, the ones who'd been making these exact arguments for over a year, against constant pushback, constant skepticism, constant dismissal. This felt like something bigger than winning an internet argument. It felt like vindication. The real kind. The kind that hits different when the most credible voice in your sport stands up and confirms that everything you believed was right. Social media lit up. Not reactive. Not chaotic.
Caitlin Clark has become a national phenom, and some fans say they went the extra mile just to...
The posts, the clips, the reaction videos. All of it carried the energy of a community that had real emotional stakes in this. Fans who had been dismissed. Told they were overvaluing her impact. Accused of being biased. Of ignoring the bigger picture of the league. Those same fans watched LeBron James make their exact argument. With his full platform behind every word. That hits different. But inside the WNBA's institutional structure, the reaction was something else entirely. Not openly hostile. Nobody in professional basketball is going to publicly clash with LeBron James. That's not how this works. But noticeably, carefully, quiet. The kind of quiet that institutions go silent with when something has been said publicly that they weren't ready for. Something that created complications they would have preferred to handle on their own timeline. Something that couldn't just be answered with a press release or a carefully worded neutral tweet. Because here's what made this different. What LeBron said didn't just validate Caitlin Clark as a great basketball player. That would have been manageable. That would have been easy to absorb, easy to respond to, easy to move past. But that's not what he said. He said something that forced a much bigger conversation. One the league wasn't ready to have publicly. One that touched on money, visibility, credit, and who gets to define what success looks like in women's basketball. And that conversation? It made some very specific people very uncomfortable.
LeBron is the GOAT to me, so I don't know, it was just like a crazy moment where I got to meet him in the back.